Hey folks, Reverend Jordan here, coming to you on this dreary looking Thursday. It's a little bit warmer than it has been, but it's still cold. So it's a warmer kind of cold than it has been. As I can hear a little bit of the ice melting around me as we're right around the freezing point. So it's a little bit less freezing and frigid as it has been, but still quite icy and snowy out here at the church here in West Glenville. It's a blessing to be able to come to you this week and bring you this week's sermon preview. Just a quick announcement before we begin. We will be holding our annual congregational meeting in January, a week from this coming Sunday, January 23rd. That'll be immediately following worship. So we'll have our worship service, and then we'll head right out into Pop Hall and begin our annual meeting right then. In the meantime, Steve Camino and any of his helpers will be finalizing a community meal in the kitchen, and we'll be enjoying a community meal together following worship and the congregational meeting. So right around noontime is when we'll have our meal together. So I wanted to let you know so that you can invite folks to that. It's an all-encompassing meal. It is for those who are in need. If you know of anyone that just needs a good meal, invite them to come and be with us. They're welcome here to come and have lunch with us at noon on that day. But also, it's just a great opportunity for us all to take a moment and pause and just enjoy each other's company. And if you have need of some fellowship, that's a great opportunity for that. If you are someone who has a hectic, busy schedule, maybe you've got a family and life is just, constantly running around and the days fly by, and this is an opportunity to sit and pause and just be together with one another. It's also a great opportunity to invite anyone to come and be a part of our community, come and see what the church is all about. So invite somebody to come and be with us. So that'll happen a week from this coming Sunday, January the 23rd. Now for this Sunday, we'll be continuing in the Gospel of John, and we're going to that scripture that some of us are very familiar with, where Jesus cleanses the temple. And this is where there's the money changers, and they're selling doves in the temple square, and Jesus comes in, and it's kind of an erratic scene where Jesus is turning over tables and shouting at people, and it's a different side of Jesus than we're used to usually seeing. So that's one of the things that we'll look at, is what's this kind of different approach that Jesus is taking, and what is that about, and what does that mean, and where does that come from? But we'll also be looking with this scripture this week about his exchange that happens with the Pharisees there in that moment. They ask him, well, what authority do you have? Show us a sign that you have the authority. And he gives them an answer that they don't like. He says, I will tear down this temple and rebuild it in 3 days. And he's standing in front of the temple, and so they automatically think that that's what he's talking about. And they say, well, this is ridiculous, Jesus. This doesn't make any sense. You're not going to tear down this temple and rebuild it in 3 days. It took years and years to construct this temple. And the scripture reminds us, though, that Jesus used a little turn of phrase there. He's really talking about his body, and that his death will only last for 3 days, and the temple of his body will be rebuilt. And so it begs that question of how, when we get these signs from Jesus, or when we get the signs from the Lord, how do we sometimes misinterpret them? Do we take a sign and see it as something completely different than it is intended for us by the Lord? I think that happens a lot, actually, in our lives. We miss things. We miss little cues from God. We miss the way that God shows up and moves in our life, only to find out later, oh, that's what you were up to, God, in my life. And so we'll kind of address that, because it's a common experience for us all. It's something that we've all experienced. We'll see it in the scripture this week, and we'll see it in the way that Jesus works with his people. And so come and be with us for worship this week on Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, right here at the church. And if you can't be with us in person, then we'll look forward to seeing you here on our YouTube channel. And until then, may the Lord bless you in these days ahead.